If you're looking to get clients through cold outreach, or you have already tried to get clients through cold outreach and you just can't understand why it's not working, watch this video, and by the end of it, you'll know exactly what platform and what method to use for your specific market and the thought process behind actually figuring out whether you're setting up the correct system in the first place. Let's break this down really simply. There's essentially two philosophies around cold outreach, two different types of methods, okay? There's Daniel Fazio style, Dream 100 style, hyper-personalized, high intent, low volume outreach. Particularly works well with high quality leads, high value leads when you're selling a high ticket product. Essentially anything over, $2,000 per month or a single one-time product for like 5 to 10K. That's where on a platform like LinkedIn, for example, where a business owner is getting every single day 5 to 10 different agencies or service providers reaching out to them with a generic message asking them, hey, are you interested in getting more clients? Are you interested in increasing your attention? These businesses are getting 5 to 10 of these messages every single day. And so in order for you to stand out and for you to grasp the attention of a business owner or a decision maker, you need to be hyper personalized and you need to actually show that you put effort into reaching out to them because they get a bunch of these messages every single day. So what does this mean practically? Because we can talk all day theoretically, but practically on your phone, what can you actually do outreach wise to stand out? Well, here's a rule to help you out when you're actually thinking about this. You want to do what everybody else isn't doing, okay? So what is everybody on LinkedIn and cold email and those type of platforms where it's a professional context and companies are getting outreach messages every single day? What is the norm? What is the norm? Ask yourself right now, try and answer that question. What do you think is normal? I'll tell you, what's normal is a super generic first name personalized message, which is kind of a bit too long and a bit boring looking. And as soon as you see it on your phone, you think to yourself, damn, I don't want to read all that. Move on to the next one, right? That's what most people are sending. It's a generic text-based opening message. How do you separate yourself from that? Well, you can start off text-based, but once you get the attention, what you need to do is you need to use a different medium. Maybe that's video, maybe that's voice notes. Personally say the person's, the decision maker or the founder's name on the message and say, hey James, I really like what you're doing at accelerate.ai. Using a VN, a voice note, or doing like a selfie video is the approach you want to take. And rather than getting straight into the pitch, maybe you need to kind of build up that excitement inside of them and give them a reason to actually respond to you. So I'll go into in depth on exactly what sequences you can use in future videos, but for now, just understand that that's one type of outreach. High intent, highly personalized, takes a lot of time per outreach, right? And you can only do a limited number of them per day. Like how many could you do? 20, 30? I mean, I know people who've done 200 personalized messages per day, but that takes an insane amount of commitment and it's really not sustainable long term. The way you would scale a system like this would be to simply hire a VA to do this for you on a day-to-day basis. Pretty simple. You just hire manpower at a cheaper cost from Indonesia or Bangladesh, and they'd be sending these messages for you. Or you could harness the power of AI and use, there's a lot of softwares out there where you could mix an 11 Labs API of your voice along with a script that grabs data from your CRM and essentially amalgamates them together so that every time you send a message in your own voice, you're sending a voice note saying, hey James, but you didn't actually say, hey James, you're somewhere else sitting drinking mocktails, right? And your automation software is sending a voice note automated off your so essentially you get the best of both worlds. You get scalability and you get personalization. But regardless of that, you don't want to fall into the trap of over automating everything. Okay, nowadays in 2026, everybody's just trying to automate. Let me use this AI software, let me use this scraping software, let me use this. If you just go back to the pure basics, you'd be so surprised at the amount of sales calls that you book. Just literally picking up your phone on a platform where it actually works, not Instagram. Instagram is what? It's notorious for having a low initial message open rate, okay? So you can spend your time sending selfie videos or voice notes to what seems like qualified leads on Instagram, but the reality is that 60% of these people aren't even gonna open your message. You're gonna go straight to the request folder. So you're kind of wasting your time. There's a misconception that cold outreach in general is a waste of time because the majority of people who you're sending a message to might not see the message and might not respond or won't get on a call with you. But at the end of the day, everything is measured in return on investment. Time is an investment. If you're sending messages, personalized messages like a voice note or a selfie, which actually takes time, you have to go and look at the profile, see what their business is about, think of a message that could tailor, that could, twist your offer and your value proposition with exactly their situation. If you're going to go through all of that effort, there are platforms out there where it makes more sense to do that. And on LinkedIn, for example, if you're sending personalized manual messages, you could get a reply rate of literally 20 to 30%. So for every 10 people that you reach out to, if you've got good targeting and you're finding people with a high intent and who are like in a lot of pain and need your specific help, if you're actually targeting those people correctly, you can see 20 to 30% responses. It means for every 10 people you reach out to, you've got 2 or 3 people actually replying to you. And let's say half of those actually turn into positive conversations where you manage to say to this person, hey, look, I've got an idea. Why don't we get on a call and see whether this can actually work out? And when you do that, that's when you start booking calls. And that's when your calendar gets full. And that's when you are able to sign high ticket clients consistently. Okay. So that is one approach that works better for high value, high intent, high value leads, right? Works better for B2B, agency owners, financial advisors, any type of B2B service. Like, for example, say you're proposing email marketing to, AI automation agencies, LinkedIn. You know what I mean? Because it's a pre-notion in their mind that they're going to receive 5 to 10 messages per day pitching them on a service. And they actually need these services, right? There's a reason why there's 5 to 10 other businesses in their LinkedIn inbox. It's because it actually works. Otherwise, all of these agencies wouldn't be wasting their time. They're doing it because they're getting a return on investment. The time and the money they invest into the softwares, into the time it takes to actually craft these messages and send them out, they're getting a return because even one high ticket client could pay for like 3 months worth of outreach costs. So once you understand that concept, you stop thinking from a lazy perspective of, okay, well, with most of the people who I talk to aren't even going to respond to me, what's even the point? That's flawed thinking. Now, we've spoken about B2B. Let's talk about B2C and a couple different niche markets where a slightly different approach would be more applicable. When you're targeting a B2B demographic, understand this very simple and key concept. And I should have said this earlier on in the video, but you need to reach out to and try and talk to people on the platforms where they spend the most time. That is the general rule, the general principle that if you are struggling to understand, okay, where should I actually go? Okay, I've decided I'm providing this service for X amount per month. I want to target fitness influencers. I want to help fitness influencers scale from 10 to 50k per month with a webinar VSL funnel. And I know how to do webinar VSL funnels, but now, okay, wait, how do I actually find these fitness influencers? Where's the best place to reach out for them? I want you to stop and I want you to reverse engineer a fitness influencer's day and their social media use. And this is why niche research is so important and why it's so critical that you understand the market that you're trying to target. Fitness influencers do what? They post their workouts, they post the macros of their meals, they post their Greek yogurt and their oats, they post their, boiled chicken recipes, you know what I mean? Like they're posting their food, they're posting their workouts, they're posting their client results. Where? On Instagram, right? Because it's all visual. They're posting a workout video, it's visual. They're posting a client transformation before and after, it's visual, it's on Instagram. Most fitness influencers are on Instagram. That's their preferred platform. That's where they spend most of their time stuck to their phone scrolling, right? That's where they conduct business. And if that's where they conduct business, that's where they're most receptive, that if they receive a message related to business on that platform, they'd actually consider it. Now, there's a caveat. There's a really important caveat because this is different to B2B, LinkedIn, or cold email outreach. And the caveat is this. What do you know about the platforms Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, these platforms where these more B2C-esque markets hang out? What do you notice about them? They all tend to be more fast-paced and they encourage a shorter attention span. naturally. On Instagram, for example, what do you have? You have Instagram Reels, right? And Instagram Reels, even the best of us who are on Instagram will be scrolling Reels, and we will be getting these fast, short attention span bursts of dopamine, just scrolling. And so subconsciously that affects how much attention they can give to your outreach message. And that's why on these platforms like X and Twitter, where the strategy is to go more lower friction, higher volume, right? On these types of platforms where we can leverage automation software, like for example with Instagram you could use colddms.com, with X you could use drippy.ai. These type of automation softwares, right, they come in clutch, because what you're able to do is you're able to send a short message that's punchy and actually really targets your ICP, your ideal customer profile. You're able to craft this message and then distribute it automatically to hundreds of people every single day. And what that does is, because the message is curated in such a way where it elicits an emotional response, if it hits the right person, it's like casting a net. And if you're fishing in the correct lake, then you will catch some fish who really take the bait. You know what I mean? That's why that can be so powerful, because again, we're only looking for a return on investment. Even though you'll get a lower reply rate to your messages on LinkedIn if they're highly personalized, you're sending a video DM or you're sending a voice note, you're going to have a lower response rate on Instagram or Twitter. But the thing is, because you're able to send more volume, it kind of makes up for it, and you're able to make the same results from it. Each platform has its own space in the market. When you go with this higher volume, lower friction type of short punchy message strategy, then what you need to be aware of is that because we can only hold their attention for a shorter amount of time due to the nature of the platform, it works a lot better if you actually have a proven offer in the first place. And by offer, I mean a value proposition that your market will actually react to and say, okay, this person, what they're saying they could do for me is actually exactly what I need. And so I can justify inside my own head that it makes sense for me to hop on a sales call with them and actually give them the time of day, because just maybe they could help me grow my business and I can pay for my overdue car finance. Do you get what I mean? Like, that's basically the angle that you need to take. And so if you haven't got a proven offer, you can still do this kind of manual approach on different platforms. Again, it's just a matter of testing and trying different platforms and seeing where it sticks. If you've in the past had success doing outreach on a particular platform, even if it doesn't match what I'm saying right now, let's say you had luck finding financial advisors on Instagram and reaching out and actually getting their attention, 100% go back and do that. This whole game is just one big testing arena. But there are certain best practices and there are certain truths about outreach that may help you and might skip months and months off the testing phase. That's why I'm telling you, like, if you're trying to target agency owners, your best bet is probably LinkedIn, man. If you're trying to target businesses doing over 100K per month, 200K per month, and they have multiple employees, the fact that you can go on LinkedIn and actually filter out by number of employees and find the CEO or founder of that business, now you understand the power of actually using these platforms. And because each lead is so much more valuable, now you can afford to spend a little bit more time personalizing your message and actually trying to stand out against the other 5 to 10 people inside of their inbox that same day. And I'll tell you, personally, myself, sending these voice notes or video messages has insane results, man. So many business owners have said to me, hey man, I never open messages like these. I never really check them. I never really pay them attention. But you know, my message, even though I get 10 of these, 20 of these per day, your message really caught my attention. So I'm acting a bit out of character here, but hey, I'll hear you out. I'll give you a chance. Happened to me so many times. I hear the exact same line, man. The exact same line. We get these messages every day, but your message stood out. And I want you to take that and use that as, you know, a reason why you should do the same, why if it's applicable, if you're looking for B2B clients, that's what you should do. And if you're looking for something a bit more B2C, or you have a niche like a yoga instructor or a photographer, what does a photographer do? They take pictures and they put them where? On Instagram, which is a photo like social media platform. If you're trying to do client acquisition for wedding photographers, for example, and you want to link I'll give you a business plan right now. You find photographers or wedding photographers or events photographers and you give them partnerships. You partner them up with actual venues, right, where you give the venue a discount and they're able to add a photographer into their package, and so the photographer wins because they get more jobs, and the venue wins because they have an additional service that they can charge more for, scrape a little bit of cream off the top, and they give the customer a better experience. You know what I mean? So if you're looking now, imagine that's your business idea and you're looking for photographers. Even though they're professional photographers charging thousands of dollars per project, your best bet is still going to be Instagram, just because of the nature of the work. You know what I mean? They spend their time on social media. They spend their time on Instagram scrolling through other people's wedding photos, you know? So identify where your target audience spends the majority of their time. Understand that that will most likely be the best place where you should reach out to them. And so we spoke about the low volume, high intent. We also spoke about the high volume, low friction. And because these people typically have a shorter attention span just due to the nature of the platform, you need to change your copy to match that kind of pacing of the platform, right? It's a fast platform. They quickly check their DMs and they see a punchy short message. Hey man, I can get you this result in this much time with this guarantee. Interested? Do you know what I mean? So if you're able to do that correctly, then you will see so much results you won't even know what to do. But there's one caveat. You can't just blast messages and wish for the best. You need to have a proper quick reply management system and a system in which you're actually able to grab these leads while they're hot. Otherwise, you're wasting your time and your effort. So now that you understand these two different kind of approaches, I want you to ask yourself, for your particular business and for the ideal client profile that you're trying to target, what is the platform that they spend the most time on? What is the platform that they will take a business related message seriously on? And where do you have the chance to reach out to these people? Like, are they the type of people who are extremely busy and so they would appreciate a high effort outreach message? Or are they the type of person where maybe it's more of a unsaturated niche and so you can get away with putting a little bit less effort in, still personalizing it, but just not going to a very time intensive extent and using maybe a cool personalization automation where you're sending them a message, but you're able to send it to so many people that your results reflect that. So ask yourself what the best platform is to reach out on, whether that's LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, even cold calling. Like, think about this, man. Let's say you want to help roofers get more jobs. Is the roofer on the roof scrolling Instagram or going through their X feed? No, they're not, okay? They've got their phone in their pocket and they're on job all day, every day. They're constantly getting calls. Hey man, the roof that you fixed yesterday is actually leaking today, so you need to come back and fix that. You know what I mean? So for them, obviously it's going to be better if you actually call them up, right? They're on their phone all the time. They're not on social media, you know? So understand the little quirks, the little nuances. Most home services it'll be best to cold call them through like scraping their number off Google Maps and cold calling them. Or you could probably find them, they'd probably hang out more on like Facebook or something. You know, using that niche knowledge and the knowledge you have of the habits of what they do on a day-to-day basis will really help you in identifying which platform to reach out to them on. Just pair the platform with the type of outreach that you're using. Like if it's Instagram or X, you know that you really do need to have a high volume approach to get results. And if it's LinkedIn, because the context is such that they're expecting these messages, and because there's such stringent limits on how many messages you can even send, each shot that you're throwing is worth more. And so it's worth investing a little bit more effort into those messages. Those are essentially the two approaches and the thought process behind how to decide where to reach out to someone. So now that you have a clear idea of, okay, this is where I'm going to reach out to my ideal client on, I want you to go and watch this next video that I'll put somewhere on the screen. In that 1 hour long video, I go into the depth of the fundamentals of what makes any cold outreach system work, whether it's cold calling, cold SMS, cold email, Instagram outreach, Twitter outreach, you name it. That video will tell you everything you need to know to understand the mechanics behind what makes a cold outreach campaign work. I highly recommend you go and watch that right now, and I'll catch you guys later.